Hi guys, it's Emily from Nobel Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my reading catch-up March week 1. Now, it has been the first week of the Bronteathon. I've read a book for the Irish Readathon. I have enjoyed my books and it has been one of the best read starts to the month ever. I cannot believe how well it's done. So, I will tell you, obviously, start off with telling you what I'm currently reading. Now, obviously, this week, this little vlog thingy doesn't count from, like last week. No, most of the weeks, it will start from Thursday till Thursday. Thursday till Friday. But obviously, because technically March didn't start until Saturday, I've read 6 books since Saturday. Now, that for me is very good. But I have been reading a book a day because I've actually tried to rest quite a lot. Because this week is my more chilled week, or it was at the start. This week's been more chilled because next week is going to be insane. So I'll talk about that in a bit, but let's get on with the reading. I'll do the life stuff afterwards, don't I? So I'm currently reading, or should I say, today I'm filming this on the 6th of March, which is World Book Day. So Thomas set me the challenge of reading a book in a day. Now, yes, I've read a book in a day 2 of the other days. So Thomas was like, why did you read those? I was like, those were days where I just had housework to do and I was sitting in the garden reading. But today I've got Baz books and I'm filming this, and yeah, it's going to be slightly more of a challenge. But I'm going to be reading Emily Bronte, Her Life and Work. And let's see if I did read it in the day. So there will be an Instagram post you should have seen. And this is literally an autobiography about, a biography about Emily Bronte and her work. And obviously you guys know I love Emily Bronte. It is only 271 pages. So technically, I should be able to read it. It is obviously for the Bronte Readathon. Doesn't match one of the prompts, but it's about my favourite of the Brontes. So that's what I'm going to be cracking on reading today. And I will probably prioritise that over my buddy read, which is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, which I'm buddy reading with now. It's sort of changed. The group got added to it. I'm buddy reading with Danny from Danny's Book World, Chatty from the Mad Chatter, and one of my best friends, Kat from Brews and Reviews. So I'm up to about page 132 today, and I am bloody loving it. They're all enjoying it. It's great to hear other people that haven't read Jane Eyre like read more into it, and I think I am reading a bit too fast, so I'm not taking in certain bits that I didn't take in last time. There have been days where I've probably focused more, and there have been bits of this that I've read more of. Like I love the early bits of it when she's in Lowood, and I got more out of that. I do struggle with the bit that my book here does have the French bits where it doesn't do the translation. You'd have to go back to the notes, and I would struggle with that. So I have found that a bit more challenging, but I'm really loving it. Jane Eyre, one of my favourite books ever. So yeah, I'm really loving that. But I'll probably read that this evening. And then I started last night The Pisces by Melissa Broder. Now, Jennifer from Jennifer Loves Books said that she really enjoyed this, but I only read, about 14 pages last night, and I am finding it really, really weird. But it has got some good blurbs on the back, so I'm going to give it a go. It's a short book, it's not very long, it's only like 270 pages again. So I'm going to give this a go. I am a Pisces, obviously. I'm going to give this weird book a go and see what I think about it. But it is very weird. I was tempted to do an effort last night, but then I was like, oh, Jennifer loved it, so I want to give it a go. So those are books I'm currently reading. I've had 3 4 stars and 3 5 stars this month. But I've not read, unless you count The Pisces, which potentially is a contemporary. I think it's more of a fiction book. I've not read any contemporaries yet. What the hell has happened to me? I've read 1 fiction, 3 historical fiction, and 2 fantasies. What is happening to me? What have you guys done to me? I think I'm deliberately saving the contemporaries for the second half of the month. But I've just been doing what I wanted to do, which is mood read. This is just like no contemporaries yet. I'm itching to pick one up soon, but I know I've got one that's saved for my birthday, which is Debbie Johnson one. So yeah, hopefully I'll enjoy it. Anyway, rambling again. I read 4 stars. My first of my 3 4 stars was Trespasses by Louise Kennedy. Now, I went into this with very much of nerves because when I looked on Storygraph. Charlie loved it, rated it 5 stars. Jem rated it 3 stars. Alice had previously read it and rated it 3.5. I think Jack loved it. And I know it had mixed reviews. The year it was shortlisted for the Women's Prize, it had very mixed reviews. So I went into this with a lot of interest, with a lot of nerves, basically. Now, I had tried to read it first previously on ebook, and I didn't like it. It has the cheating trope, which is not a spoiler. It has the cheating trope running throughout it, and I found that part hard. It's set at the time of the IRA stuff in the 1970s Ireland, and it's a lot about, there's a lot of violence that happened back then, a lot of like just real prejudices with everything like that. And it was, but what's weird is I read this in a day because I don't know if it's the fact that the print was quite big, but I wanted to know what happened to our lead character, Kushla. She meets Michael, who's a married Protestant from Belfast, in a pub owned by a family. But love is never far from violence, and it doesn't glorify the cheating, which I think was done really well. But the writing was good. The only thing it couldn't have been a 5 stars because it didn't have punctuation, like the speech marks, which I found really hard. It did have other punctuation, but it didn't have speech marks, and I found that hard. And it is about cheating, which is the cheating trope, which I do struggle with. But there was something about it that meant that I couldn't put it down in that day. Like I started reading it, and then that was it. I was just in the garden. I got sunburn on my forehead because I just could not put this bloody book down. I was literally glued to my seat, and it was just, so that part makes me think it was definitely earned the 4 stars. But I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. I was going to charity shops because I wouldn't reread it, but yeah, it was a lot better than I expected. Then for a Love Books Tours book, I read the first, she's doing a series on this, the Needing No Poetry. It's Beyond the Sea. My book review is up on Instagram. It is an APL product, so I'm not going to get into any more details. It was 4 stars, it was fiction, it was adventure, a bit of romance, searching for a missing father. There is some saucy scenes in it, so if you don't like saucy scenes, that's why Mum's not going to be letting this. But it does go, like this girl travels all over the world. Like, and that part I found really, really good. The travelling was amazing, finding yourself, finding love. I thought it was actually quite a good book. Well, it's 4 stars, and I'm looking forward to reading the second one next week because it's got to be, my review's going up on the 15th of March. So I have realised that's the day I'm going to London with Kat. So I think I'm going to probably try and get the book. I will get the book read by Friday and then get the review up a bit later. But yeah, that was 4 stars. I'll keep it because I want to see what the next one's like. And then I read my library book, which wasn't on my TBR, but it was my library book, and it was What a Lady Wants by Emma Orchard. This is basically for fans of Bridgerton, and that is literally, it is a bloody saucy Regency romance. There is lots, and I mean a lot of graphic saucy stuff, but it was just what I needed. Like reading, I think I read this in between Trespasses and one of the other harder books, and it was better. I think, to be honest, it was like a romance / historical fiction. So I read it in the evening. And it does talk about the fact it's set in autumn in 1816 and a scandal is afoot. Lady Ashby is grieving for the death of her beloved husband just 2 years earlier. Although she's still young and beautiful, Isabella resolved never to marry again, and plans to leave London and return to her parents' Yorkshire home. But she wants to have one last taste of life, and this is her. And she meets this guy, Leo Winterton, and it's obviously a sexy Captain Leo Winterton, very sexy guy. And about, like, she wants to enjoy her life, and there's a bit of romance, and it's saucy, but it really is good. And it does talk about grief and second chances and things like that. And it was really good fun, really great live book. I'm really glad I read that. So that's going, they're both, let's go upstairs. And then to my 3 5 stars, all of which are good. One of which is a new favourite for the year, and that one is the one that actually surprised me. So the first one was a reread, and that was my reread of The Woolworth Girls by Elaine Everest. Sadly, this author died last year, not long after Alice died, and I did get very emotional. This was one of the ones, again, I read it in the evening, but it has made me want to reread the whole series, which I'm going to do now. I don't know when I'm going to pick up the next one, but my TBR may not be going down as much because it has made me really want to reread. And this is the whole point of rereads. It's realising books that I can read over and over again. And this was my second time reading this. And we went back to The Woolworth Girls, but obviously for me, the reading was tainted by the fact that obviously I never knew the author. It's really weird. I never, like, no, you don't know your authors, but you find some connection. We did have, like, she did message me on Twitter or something else and some of the other social medias, and her writing was incredible. She was like she is one of my favourite historical fiction authors in that this sort of saga romances. So her loss obviously then brought up a bit of grief, and I started missing Alice again, and so this is why this book had mixed, like, it gave me all the feels. Like, the grief reappeared, and it sucks, but that's life. But this was really amazing. It was 5 stars again on the reread. Can't wait to pick up the next one. And it's where the Boys Girl series starts, and we meet all of them. We meet Sarah Castleton, Glamorous Maisie, and Shy Frida, and then obviously their boss Betty, and how their journey starts. And it was just lovely to go back to this. And yeah, I'm gonna put it back on my shelves and try not to cry. Then one of the first books I read for the Bronte Readathon is The Starling House by Alexi Harrow. This was my dark book, and very dark, 5 stars, very spooky, very creepy, very good, but God, do you not read this at night. This was one I read during the day, and I'm so bloody glad I did. Step into Starling House if you dare. There's like monsters, and we even got pictures on this, which I thought was really good. And Opal, and it's like, Opal is a lot of things: orphan, high school dropout, full-time cynic. Most of all, she's trying to find a better life for her younger brother, one that gets them both out of Eden, a town renowned for bad luck. So when Opal gets the chance to earn a good wage at Starling House, Eden's very own haunted mansion, she can't resist. Her new workplace is uncanny and full of secrets, just like Arthur. It's brooding air. But it is good. It's really good, but God, is it dark. Like, this is one I'm keeping because I will reread it. Actually, I'm trying to think if I can... I'll show you one of the early pictures, because one of the later ones you kind of gives it away a little bit. But look, it's like really darkness. So, what is dark book of the Bronte Readathon? This is very, very dark. But yeah, this one's going back on my shelf. And then to my favourite book of the month so far, and it will probably, it's going on my favourites of the year so far, if I'm not surprised. But this is actually a surprise, because it's Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I've battered my books in some ways because I've been reading them in the sun. I don't know a way of reading books in the sun and it doesn't make the pages go funny. I don't know what I've done wrong, but anyway, this was my TBR pick. I got it as a gift from the Amazon anonymous person last year. Whoever you are, you smashed it out of the park. This is a book I'm keeping. There is a sequel, the next sequel called Mate, which is out in October, which I will be reading. I'm trying to get Kat to buddy read it, but she's refusing at the moment. She will give in. I read a lot of Ali Hazelwood's books. In fact, I've read every one of them. I will probably pick up her next one, which I can't remember what it's called. But I wasn't a massive fan of her last one, and it wasn't like one that drew me. And this is her first fantasy one. This is her first one that's like a fantasy, and this is her first. So it's her first dip into that. Love Theoretically, I love, which is the one I didn't love as much. I like Check 'em Out. Yeah, Not in Love wasn't amazing. Check 'em Out. So I've been a bit hit and miss. But God, this was fantasy all the way. I read it in a day. I couldn't put it down. I literally finished it like late last night. I did not want to flip and put this book down. It was fantasy all the way. It's about wares and vampires. Now I know Charlotte from Queenie Reads didn't love this, but Kat did love it. And so it has had mixed reviews. It is obviously got Ali Hazelwood's typical saucy bits in it. A lot of saucy stuff. God, this is done well. Like, this is done incredibly. The writing is incredible. It's so different to what she's written before, but it's my kind of books. Vampires, wares, fantasy, mixed with family dynamics, mixed with romance, mixed with every flipping thing you could probably pack into this. And it was incredible. It wasn't scary like the Starling House, but it was creepy. It was just, there was something about this that I just couldn't put down, and it's on my favourites of the year so far. It was bloody amazing, and I flipping love this, and I am going to reread it a million, billion, gazillion times, because that's just it. And I will probably, I'll almost be tempted to read. I even read the blurb for the next one, which I shouldn't have done. I shouldn't have read the blurb for the next one. But don't read the blurb for the next one before you've read Bride, because it kind of gives you a clue. In fact, it does tell you the end of Bride. So do not read the blurb for her next one. But it has gone on my Amazon wishlist, and I'm getting it. Like, I don't care if I don't get it as a present. I'm buying it myself. I may even pre-order it from Waterstones. I'm getting it. That's it. Anyway, so those are the books I've been reading. What am I being thankful for this week? Obviously, the Bronte Readathon started. I've seen some TBRs. I need to add some TBR videos to my playlist that I've put up. So I've loved that. The biggest, probably the best thing of everything is that the weather this last week. Since Saturday, I've been able to sit in the garden and read, which is my idea of heaven. Unfortunately, it's been cold in the mornings, so somehow my chilblains have returned, because it's been really cold in the mornings, and then in the afternoons it's just been brilliant. So literally as soon as I get home from Baz Books today, I'm out in that garden, I'm sitting there. Slight negative, that the 2 days when I'm bloody going out, tomorrow and Monday for my birthday stuff, it's supposed to be raining. Typical, but I've been literally loving sitting in the garden reading. I even got a bit of sunburn on my face, and it's just cheered me up. That is just my happy place. Also made some cakes with Thomas this week. Yes, I do love baking. I made them with him on Saturday, although our electric whisk broke. So we kind of had to whisk the sponge mix up with hand. And then what was funny was with the icing without the electric whisk, we then had to just add a bit. We added water for the icing mix, but my mum said we should have added milk, which next time we will. But they tasted scrummy, but they were very chocolatey. And I've also been playing football in the garden with Thomas for the first time this year. And watching Thomas play football in the garden, watching him play frisbee with Chris and Mia. Family time in the garden has just been incredible, and I love the fact that spring is really appearing. So I'm just thinking, it is World Book Day today, so obviously if you got to the end of this video, leave any of the book emojis, because let's celebrate World Book Day. Let's encourage our children to read. Mia doesn't read very much. She does read obviously at school. She's great at English. Thomas is loving reading his football books, so I do encourage my kids to read. But let's do that. Let's encourage our children to read, because reading's why we're on here, aren't we? And it's brilliant. So hope you all have a great rest next week. Let me know what you've been reading. Let me know if you've been joining in the readathon. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.